whether we have ever forgotten him. He's a man whom we have not forgotten. Shashi called me December 15, told me Cyril passed away. I could not believe it. It did not register in me. Perhaps I was in denial. Justifiably so. We wanted to see his mortal remains. A group of us went to the Apollo hospital looking for the mortuary where his body would be kept until his daughter would arrive. As I was walking in, I saw faces of my friends, uncertain, grief-stricken, unsure of what to say, what to do. I went in. I saw Geeta sitting there. Of course, grief-stricken, still making room for others to sit by her side who were trying to console her. I wanted to see Cyril's body. We went in, it was on the stretcher. He was sleeping. Eternal sleep, of course, but he was sleeping. His body was covered with a white cloth. I could only see most of his face. I laid my hand on his shoulder, and through the cloth, I felt the coldness. The medical people who would put his body in the mortuary came in. Geeta was there. Veena was comforting her. The mortuary people laid his body, removed it from the stretcher, put it in a drawer, and shut it up. It was very final. I did not believe that finality. I was just laying my hand on Geeta's shoulder. There were tears streaking down her face. Perhaps my voice was tremulous, my eyes moist, my body heavy, my heart heavy, but I'm a man. I could not cry. My wife was there with me. She was about to cry. It was difficult for her to stifle. Again, I saw another finality in Cyril's death. At the crematorium, when Cyril's body was brought in, I walked up to carry his body in the last journey, even for a few feet, which I did. We laid the body on the platform, and then I again held an umbrella over his body, over his head, for a few moments. His body was to be shielded from the harsh sun. I thought it was my privilege to be able to do that. I also took his body along with the others on his final movement, the machinery and the mechanism that moved his body in to the incinerator, where it was converted into ashes. Do I now remember Cyril? Or can I not forget him? That's my question. I've been asking myself. If I look at the characteristics that attracted me to Cyril, and if I could go over them quickly, I would narrate only 3 of them. 1, he was a strategic thinker, a very meticulous planner, mentor who never let his eyes wander from the goal. A quality which is remarkable. He was at the forefront of every planning activity. Allow me a little liberty here. I'll take a little time. I was in engineering college where the elections, student union body elections were to take place. At that time, I'm talking about 1972, 73, the elections were indirect elections where a class rep would be elected and all the class reps would elect the executive body. I would request you to look at the strategic as well as meticulous planning process that Cyril used to engage in. There were 5 branches of engineering. Each branch had a class of 30, and there were 3 such years. First year, second year were also there. Altogether about 800 people. He had a list of all those 800 people, class by class, and in every class he used to say, okay, number 1 is to be influenced by number 5, and then we can get his vote. Number 8 can be influenced by 1 and 2. So how do we influence that guy? So he had a list of all the students of the college in front of him, and he was able to meticulously plan the process of electioneering. Had George not been killed during that time, I'm very sure we would have won the elections. I'm saying we because at that time I decided I would vote for the panel that was to be chosen by Cyril. This is only one facet of Cyril. He had a very welcoming smile, a charming one at that. He used to laugh heartily. His voice was strong but encouraging. He used to speak out very logically, and for everything he did, he used to give a reason. And at that time, we used to believe that implicitly. For example, he used to drink tea without brushing his teeth, or what we call the bed tea. For me, it was something that is not thinkable, acceptable. I used to ask him, why the hell do you do that? He used to say, my throat is dry in the morning, and therefore I put some tea in to wet it, and thus it becomes better. At that time, I was believing his words implicitly. I don't accept it now. I don't accept those words now, but he was logical, he was rational. He was able to convince me in spite of myself. Very friendly. On many occasions, at least I can recall 2, where I was critical of something that he had done. He used to take his time and explain to me why he considered himself to be correct. And even that I bought. I used to buy even those arguments. Thirdly, Cyril had an approach, a philosophy, a conviction, a dedicated direction for his life. Left movement, Dalit movement, and so on. That perhaps had been the driving force in his life. Now what is very interesting is, whatever his direction in life has been, he had the capability to impact a large number of lives. I can see here, at least out of this group, 50 people who were directly influenced or impacted by Cyril. We accepted him implicitly as a leader. Therefore, I don't think I would remember Cyril any further because I have not forgotten him. Therefore, I would only offer my condolences not only to Geeta and her daughter, but to everyone here. We condole the death of Cyril, but he lives in all of us as long as we do. Thank you very much.